Hello, hello, hello. So it looks like we are live, not quite at 11:05, um, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we are streaming now and not jumping on and off. So it feels like everything I'm saying is rhyming today. So I'm just going to crack on. Thank you for coming back and watching or rewatching day 2 of this trilogy that I'm laid out for you. And today I'm going to be talking about visibility and how to be visible, not pushy. Now, there's a reason for this, a very special reason for this. Many people that I speak to, when it comes to being visible, and they are doing some amazing things out in the world, they are already visible, they're already seen, they're already heard, and they want to do more. They want to reach more people, they want to make a bigger difference, they want to leave a better legacy. A lot of those people will usually say something that points to being visible, being out there, um, but this notion that they could be too much, too pushy, too in your face. And these people certainly aren't shy people either. So on today's video, we're going to talk about visibility and how to be visible and not pushy. And the things I'm going to recommend might surprise you. The things that I'm going to talk about might surprise you. And tomorrow is the last of the trilogy for this week, or the mini trilogy. I call it a mini trilogy because I managed to do it yesterday in 20 minutes and like 3 seconds or something. And each of these videos, I am aiming for them to be between 15 and 20 minutes long, so that you get your time back, that you can absorb some of the ideas, insights, and things that I share, and that you can hopefully tweak. Because for many of you, it's not about starting afresh or starting anew, it's about tweaking what you do, a bit like that click of the Rubik's Cube. So I have my post-it note with my notes on of the 3 main points basically that I want to say. If you are watching live and you want to say hello, please do. Please type in the comments below. And if for some reason I miss it while I'm streaming, I will come back to you and I will kind of chat to you. So you might be watching this on the Queen of Being Seen Facebook page. If you are, thank you so much. You might be watching this as part of my LinkedIn. I think it's coming close to 7,500 LinkedIn connections. So if you're one of those, I thank you. I thank you so much. Many of whom I've met in person, and also on my YouTube channel. So if you are a YouTube fan and want to go back and watch this, if you just go onto YouTube and search at Jenny Kovacs, you'll find my channel there. How lucky was I to get that? So first things first, there are 3 things that I'm going to dive deeper into today. And on the blurb somewhere near this video, I talked about kind of the importance of not being pushy at all. And sorry, someone just sent me a really lovely message, just distracted me then because it flashed up on my screen. The notion of not being pushy, the notion of how we can make those connections with people so that it doesn't feel pushy, and also how do you make connections with people that you don't know. So the first point that I want to share, or the first insight I want to share, any of you that have followed my work, at least since 2018, when I actually introduced the obvious, like why be visible, because people would make up ideas in their head why they thought it was a good idea or not. There are 3 key elements when it comes to being seen, being heard, being taken seriously, and being visible. And it's how you work with the people around you, i.e. your audience, your A, how you work in your business or the business model or the business that you're working in, the B. And the C is how you demonstrate your credibility. And many of us have been taught, or many of us have seen, that other people demonstrate their credibility by what I lovingly call the boast post. Hey, look at me. I've done this. I've done that. I'm great. I've studied this. I've got this long list of qualifications. I have this amount of money in the bank. Now, they are all ways that you can show your credibility, but are they ways that serve you to be visible? And are they ways that serve your audience in a way that doesn't feel pushy? Actually, they're not. Even more so since post-pandemic, because in the pandemic we were told to keep our distance, stay away. People, whether they're business people, whether they're corporate people, whether they're everyday people, people are craving more of a closeness, more of a humanness, more of a realness. So the first thing is that I'm going to talk about, I'm just going to take a sip of my tea because my throat is going all crackly and croaky. And the tea that I've got in my glass today is a pucker tea. It's called Womankind. I often joke and say it's for kind women. So let's hope that kind people, regardless of the gender that you identify with, are watching. So the first thing that I said I would talk about, let me put that a bit closer to me, is today I wanted to uncover how to tell whether people are resonating with you or not. So in this ABC model, audience, business, credibility model, we're going to hone in on the A. Now, audience are the people around you. It doesn't matter if you don't speak from stages, as I do. It doesn't matter if you're not big on kind of being interviewed, as I do too, whether it's podcasts or radio or TV. It's about the people around you. Now, for you, it could be your peers, it could be a group you're in, it could be a program you're part of, it could be a community you're part of, it could be something you're known for. You know, if you're a parent and you go to the school gates quite regularly, there'll be a community of people there. All of these people are your audience. And I say it not to freak you out, but people are always watching. And people often pay more attention than you think. They might not be vocal about it. So with the people around you, how to have them resonate with you is to, if there was one thing that you could do today that would make a difference, it's this. If you're the person that offers a product, a service, maybe you are a fundraiser, you have something on offer to the people around you. Maybe you work for a company and you know you're in charge of maybe the sales, the marketing, the business development. Those people around you, that audience, they need to know categorically that you get them and that you understand them. So I'm going to kind of skip to the punchline, and there are some things to look out for. Those things are, what are the kind of things that they specifically worry about that you can definitely help them with? And you have to get really specific, saying, I help you to overcome a problem that's very vague, has people say, that's not me then, you know? So it's really good to drill down on what that is. So what are they worried about? Sometimes they're struggling with something. They're struggling or they're grappling with something. They kind of, to them, it might feel indecisive, or there's some indecision going on. I'm not sure whether to do this thing or not sure whether to do this thing. Maybe there's a knowledge gap. You know, I'm going through this at the moment where I've hired a technical VA to do some work for me because I'm going to migrate a load of my systems over. And the reason that I employed them was because I want them to use their expertise to make the best decisions and do the right things for the solution that I want, that we both want. Me thinking that I need to be there every step of the way and know everything that they're doing is kind of like a fallacy. So for me, I would say I'm quite techie, and it's not so much that I'm struggling, but I'm grappling with, is it best to do this thing? Is it best to integrate that thing? Is it best to pull this stuff together? Is it best to do it in isolation? That's what I mean by grappling. And whatever you are doing for people, they will be grappling with decisions in their head too. Sometimes they're able to articulate or verbalize them, and other times they're just like kind of turning it over in their mind, like tilling the soil of their mind. So in order to have people really resonate with you, yes, there's a thing about building rapport and content is king and putting your content out there, but actually having them know that you understand them and asking the questions that elicit those things that they might be struggling or grappling with, having them understand, you know, what they're worried about. And for a big percentage of your people, they're go-getters. A lot of my people that work with me tend to work with me privately. They're go-getters. They want stuff done. So they're very, very clear on what their dreams are, what their aspirations are, what they're aiming towards. So if I don't talk about those things too, so, if I always talk about being visible as a thing that people do when they're scared to put themselves out there, my go-getters don't feel that way. What they feel is, had a record month, had a record year. I want more people to know about this piece of work. Sometimes it's I want more people to know about me and the difference that I can make. Other times it's I want more people to know about my business or my company, or I want to hit this particular goal. I want to speak on this stage. I want to be interviewed on Stephen Bartlett's Confessions of a CEO or something like that. Whatever their aspirations are, there's some mindset stuff, there's some physical kind of stuff, and there's them showing their passion. So they will want to aspire to something, and I need to talk about that too. Otherwise, they'll think, oh no, Jenny doesn't get it, and off they go. And I know this happens to a lot of business owners specifically because they come and tell me that they did all this work and they explained all this stuff to people and they gave them this, or they put loads of content out there and people said it was really great, they loved it, and then they went off and worked with somebody else, usually because they didn't realize or appreciate that that person could help them. It's a really horrible feeling. And this is what I mean by being seen and heard, not being passed over, but actually being seen for the thing that you actually do and the person that you are and how they work with you or your business or company, and being heard so that people know when you're for them and they're for you. Okay, so the second thing that I said I would uncover, and again, if you've got questions, please type them below. Hey, greetings, James. James is saying hello to everyone from Malaysia. Hello, hello. An honour to have you here. And I think you're about 7 or 8 hours ahead of where we are now. So thank you for joining in the evening there, if that's where you are. So that was the first thing. So how to look at that in terms of not being pushy is, rather than evangelizing about what you do, rather than kind of almost asking for validation or persuading people and please pick me, like I'm really good at this and here's why you need to do this thing, here's why you need to be visible, rather than kind of preaching to those people, there's a different energy when you say, look, I know what it's like when you've put your blood, sweat and tears into this thing, you've worked so hard, and then they say, thank you, you've been wonderful, but I'm going to go with that option. There's a difference there. So when you're able to talk about what people, or express and show what people are worried about and all of that kind of stuff, it's really helpful. It's really helpful. So help them to know that you understand them. Second thing, like, why does this even matter? Often people wrongly think that visibility is all about showing off, showing up in a way, but showing off what you can do in your skills. But actually, what visibility does, when you're able to help people, it helps you to grow. It helps you to grow personally, actually. It shows you the person that you are becoming. And often we kind of change with who we become. It shows, it also grows a business if it's your business. And if it's somebody else's business, it grows that business too. Hey, Yasmin. Hi. Good to see you. So it's important to grow them, to grow your clients. So let me take Yasmin, as she's on and saying good morning here. Yasmin is really great with helping people with their anti-money laundering processes. Like, imagine that I was an accounting firm or agency and I needed to map out my anti-money laundering processes. Now, yes, I would know, because I would know about anti-money laundering, but how to do it in a process for the whole firm, as say the director or the founder, where I'm not going to get into trouble, I'm not going to get fined, and it's going to be robust and pass. So Yasmin would step in and she would be able to consult with me, put that all in place, and then guess what would happen? I wouldn't have to think about it. I wouldn't have to worry about it. I wouldn't have to struggle with it at all. She would put that all in place because of her expertise. And my business would grow because I'm now focusing my energies on how I would grow that business. Let's say I was an employee of that company and I came across what Yasmin does. And a lot of people forget this with being visible. It's not always about pushing somebody into a decision. It's about letting them know what you can do, and whether it's the actual buyer there that buys into the service or product that you're offering, or whether it's somebody around them that recommends you, it's all great too. So this makes you visible and not pushy. Okay, really important distinction there. So the other thing is that I've written down here that so we're spreading our message. So for some of you, it could be an ethos. I've worked with clients who have been fundraisers. I've worked with a particular very well-known charity here in the UK. They not only want to fundraise and have people make donations, but they also want to spread awareness of their charity and what it does, because it affects many, many families, not just in the UK, around the world, but they're a UK-based charity. And the other thing that they do is they do a lot of research as well. So they're non-profit, but they need to have visibility to grow their audience, grow the eyes and ears that are on their business and on their charity, but also to spread awareness as well. So sometimes the thing that you're spreading or getting people to buy into isn't necessarily a physical, they're purchasing a product. It's a way of thinking, a thought process, a way of doing something differently. That's just as important too. I'm going to take another sip of my drink. I feel like maybe I didn't drink enough water before I started. Lubricate the throat. So that was the second thing. So just to kind of recap on that, first thing was they need to feel a resonance with you. And the way that they resonate with you is by you demonstrating that you understand what they're going through, the struggles, what they're grappling with, what they're aspiring to do, what they're worrying about, what's keeping them awake at night. Second thing is why it matters. It helps for growth, both on a personal level and a business level. And it also helps to spread the message of what you do. So the third thing that I want to share is the best way to do it. The best way to do it is definitely through video. It's definitely through video. However, a lot of people get stuck on video because, quite frankly, they don't like it, or they don't feel comfortable doing it. They feel too exposed, or they come from a ethos of when they were younger or when they were kids. The only people that were seen so visibly, so publicly, were on TV. So they feel kind of exposed in a way. So one of the important things is to have a good mixture of media. But as I explained yesterday, the vibe system of 5 key pillars, as you can kind of see behind me, 5 key pillars of different things to do or to look at to have more visibility. And in the first pillar, there's actually 3 different sections: visibility itself, vision, so knowing where you're heading to, but also video. And video isn't just about holding your phone, making a video, posting it on social media. Video could be about making a pitch to somebody that you don't know. It could be about joining a Teams meeting or a Zoom call and being able to convey your credibility and services without feeling awkward, or doing this the whole time and not looking the person in the eye and then thinking, what are they doing? It's how to build those connections. There are ways to do it verbally, and there are ways to do it non-verbally through body language so that you make an impact. Yasmin's saying, thanks for the mention and such great ideas. You're absolutely welcome, Yasmin. Your work is so needed. And I love that people come into this with so many different, from different angles, so many different things. I really kind of quite geek out on all the different things that people do in this, in my world anyway. So mixing your media is important. But nailing video, and the reason that I tend to encourage people to either start with or build on that is because it's the one that takes a little while to kind of land, to get in alignment, to kind of get comfortable in. Even for me, I started really using a lot more video when I started this business in 2010. And given that I had been a learning and development manager at quite a senior level, had given hundreds of presentations. If it wasn't to the board, it was to people who didn't always want to be there. So think of those lovely sales teams that bring in all that business for you. They didn't want to be sat in a room listening to training. They wanted to be out there smashing their targets. I had all of these experiences of training internally, so staff, and also externally, so company clients, business clients, corporate clients. And the reason why I talk about video, but also mixing your media, is people have different learning styles. I'm going to talk a lot more about the learning styles and how they all kind of map together tomorrow. So come back for the third part of the trilogy. And again, it will give you ideas and things that you can think about in terms of creating content and connecting with your ideal audience and that kind of stuff. But I start with video because it's one that for some people, they think, oh, I'm just going to be brave and just do a video every day and get the practice. But what happens is they get into bad habits, or they get into complacency, but they don't get into consistency that helps them sell their products or services, that helps them show authentically who they are, or that helps them tell the story or stories of their business. This means they don't make an impact. This means they don't leave an impression. And worst of all, it means that they are not visible. That's what I want to stop in the world. That's what I want to stop. So mix your media. Do use video, even if you don't like to. Do use quotes. Quote yourself, because there's a lot of interesting and great things that you say. People need to hear that. People will need to know. If you are into speaking or presenting, do a bit of that. It might be that, like one of my clients, John, who's based in America, he loves networking. He loves that in-person thing. And I was reading one of his posts on LinkedIn yesterday. Check him out, John Hasty. You'll see him through my connections, where he was talking about standing toe to toe, eyeball to eyeball, and the difference that it makes in a community. So there's a very big myth that in order for you to be visible, that you don't, that you have to be on social media. That's not true at all. So look at things like videos. They can be long, short, masterclasses, live streams, information sharing. Look at things like the things that you say a lot and repeat, and use those as quotes from you. Quoting Oprah and Richard Branson is brilliant. Stephen Bartlett is brilliant. Daniel Priestley is excellent. But actually, quoting some of the stuff you do has people know more about you. The other thing is writing and posting, whether it's a blog post, whether it's a longer piece, whether it's an information piece, whether it's a white paper. All of these things are important. And tomorrow we're going to talk about visibility and helping people to learn from you. Too many of you spend a lot of time trying to create content, and it just takes so long. But today I'm going to introduce you to the fact that our next Confidence on Camera starts on the 13th of May. It's 12 days. I like to describe it as a video game because every day you get a theme. So that basically gives you something to talk about. Every day you get a tip. So you see as you go through the days, even by day 4, most people visibly show an enhanced level of confidence when they're on camera. And the reason that I love this is because they get that done so early and out of the way. It means they can start to think about the kind of things that they share. Now, for those people that join as a standard participant, they get those 12-day prompts, they get those 12 tips, and also throughout the duration, we have not one, but 6 half-an-hour Q&A mentoring and coaching calls where we explore different topics. And people can come in and ask their questions, share their challenges. I actually run that within a Facebook group because then you see the theme, you're able to post your video. You get access to a portal which has all of those things in it. And if it's not your first round and you want to kind of stretch yourself, there's also a track called Not My First Rodeo, which gets you to actually create content to put out in the world. But those who have done the course a number of times will know that each theme they can actually put out into the world. So it has them consistent, it has them create content. And guess what? The stuff that they've spoken has come from their brain. They can then listen back, write it out, and then repurpose that content. Now, for some of them, they want to know a bit more about how they're doing. So some of them will upgrade to VIP. And when you upgrade to VIP, I watch all 12 of your videos and I'll give you a video. So I'll give you a video with feedback on your videos, things to think about, things to work on, things that you might want to build on, things that you might want to stop doing, things that might serve your audience. And because you're VIP, you also get an hour that you can book a call with me, talk to me about your content or where you want to go, and we map out some content, some things that you can share. But the great thing about that is that call is recorded for you. So it's recorded and you get to keep it forever and a day. Now, if you want to go VIP, you're not going to believe this. It's £99. £99. Imagine this. For many of you, the products and services that you're selling are way more than £99. So the return on investment for you, in order to kind of dust off your video visibility, get yourself out there, be more consistent, is like a really big return on investment for you. So I hope that you will join us. And if you would like to join me, if you're watching this on LinkedIn or Facebook, send me a message, just send the word video. I'll send you some blurbs. You can see a bit more about what it entails. And if you just like the payment links, you'd like to jump in and just get involved in there, please do. So tomorrow we'll talk a bit more about how people's learning styles affect what they do. And this doesn't mean that they necessarily are looking to learn from you, but utilizing those styles actually gets your information across. And when you're doing it on screen, it amplifies what you do. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you especially to James. Thank you especially to Yasmin, who both typed in the comments and said hi. And these are going to be available for you to watch back and replay. We start not this Monday coming, but Monday the 13th of May. So come and join us, a really small, safe and supportive group where you can get yourself out there, up your credibility, up your confidence, and up the amount of people that are paying attention to you. That's it. Bye for now.